If I can quit hitting the. Let's talk about new inks, old swatch books, new swatch books, and labeling, because that's what we're about to do right now. Violet Clouds, a Robert Oster ink, and I'm getting ready to take it to a pen show. So we're going to, these are the inks that are made, and we're going to label them while I talk to you guys. What do you think? Hello, hello. Always takes a minute. Alright, so these are new inks that just arrived from Troublemaker. We've been waiting a while on them. Frost Flower, look at that. It's kind of a cool color. It's kind of a green with a little bit of, it's a cool green with some purple going on. And we switched notebooks today. So this week, we decided we'd try the Wearingle notebooks, which we've always sold, but we haven't actually used the notebook. We've just been using the swatch cards up till now. So I thought I'd show you guys this. So again, this is the Wearingle notebook for swatching. And you can see the 6 new colors right here. So this one is Frost Flower. Look at that. It's kind of a cool color. For those who are joining, it is fountain pen ink that we're talking about. And this particular ink comes from the Philippines. It's a little bit harder to find, small batch made. And these are some of the new colors. Clara, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's got some sheen going on. It's an orange color with some golden, green gold sheen going on. What do you guys think? Then there's Black Shama, which I feel like isn't really black. It's got some kind of, it's a cool black with a little bit of gray blue undertone. And then we have Gold Dust, and Gold Dust actually has some blue with some gold. You guys see that? How fun is that? And this one we got some water in the nib, so that's how that happened. And it's called Mirage. Look at that. Loaded with pink. And then this Salome, and I could be saying it wrong. Salome, maybe. And it's green with some kind of pink red sheen going on. Kind of a pink purple. What do you guys think of that? So these are the new, just the brand new Troublemakers, even though we have more Troublemaker. This is the new ones, and then they changed their packaging, which I just did upside down. There you go. And they've changed their packaging. So this is us trying out the new Wearingle book here at the store. And it's a nice little wire book. It has plenty of pages to put all those swatches in. You can see how many pages there are. Plenty for you guys to try out, test out, and see what you like. And then here's a pile of some of our old swatch books. Something that you guys may not know is that every batch that comes in, Jasmine, who runs the warehouse, she actually swatches them all because we do get batches with issues. Hi, hello to those people who are joining. So just thought I would talk about a few of the things as we get ready. I am labeling these inks, but I wanted you guys to see that we do swatch every batch that comes in. In particular, we try to get the new ones done, but you can see over time, we've gone through a lot of notebooks, a lot of types of notebooks. This one is an Archer and Olive that we had been testing out for a while. You can see she used a different nib. This one was a more narrow nib, but you can see these are actually Bunga Box inks right here. And Tears of Alice, Cinderella's Slipper, Thumbelina, Sweet Love Pink. Look at that bold pink. So you can see some of the others. So this was a different book. And again, we just switched out of this book and are moving on to the Wearingle. And this was Archer and Olive. Nothing wrong with it. Some of it went through, but she is pretty abusive to the inks, don't y'all think? Ink of Witch, look at that. You can't even tell the color. It's so dark, which is what we want. 4B is one of the early inks that I really fell in love with. It's a good blue-black. And somebody says they want to see what are some of the issues you had that made you show some examples of bad batches. So I don't necessarily, I can't really show you because I don't have them in front of me, but there's a couple of brands, I hate to call them out, that they'll change dyes and they don't tell us about it. And it's too late once we get them in. And so we would get complaints. So over time, we realized that we needed the answer was to test everything. I guess Van Diemen's would be an example of one who they actually told us they were changing their dyes. So we knew going into one of their batches that they were trying to source it from just within New Zealand, instead of using sources from outside of New Zealand. And as they did that, the ink colors did not change names, but they changed color drastically. And then every now and then, it doesn't matter what company you deal with, you're going to have a batch where they failed to put a dye in. It's happened with Waringal. It's happened with Diatramentis. It recently happened with Diatramentis where they actually forgot to put any dye in. So we had some bottles that were just clear and just a little bit of yellow to them. And I don't remember the names of the colors, but obviously we tested them and it didn't work out. So we had to find solutions, but we're obviously going to test those. We've gotten batches of J. Urban, that was Emerald of Chivor, and I've laughed and said without the shiver. And a lot of people love that color without the shimmer parts. So it worked out. People were willing to buy it, but we had to lift the bottles up high and then just wait for the shimmer to settle and then test it because we just weren't sure. So those kind of things led to us testing. I would say not 100%, but 80% of what comes in, she tests. And it does get time consuming, but when she's making samples, that's when she'll do it. And she'll just do one little bottle whenever because she'll make 4 or 5 bottles at a time. So that's how she'll do that. And here's some really lovely colors. And you can see these are some old ones. This cranberry this came from, I think, 2024 Christmas edition of Diamine. And we tested these before the inks, like, we cheated, tested them because we knew there would be complaints or problems, and we wanted to make sure we were ahead of it. So I hope that kind of gives you a little bit of a clue as to what I'm talking about. And you can see these lovely colors. Some inks just dry more slowly than others, or we aren't sure if they're the exact same, even if it's just a small thing. I'm going to use Fruit Cocktail as an example, but most scented inks, what we've found is they spread and they dry more slowly as a general issue. And it's not something you always are going to know until you've tried it. And you can see some of these are really lovely inks. But this is, again, this is Endless. And the Endless book is something we used for a long time. She probably had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She used the Endless notebooks for 6 different notebooks that she filled before we moved on and decided to try out other notebooks. These, for example, are Kobe. We don't usually have problems with Kobe at all, but this was new ones. So sometimes she'll swatch it because it's new, and sometimes just to check batches. And these are not what you see on the website. These are just something we do here for us, for our knowledge. And locals know to come find these books because they're always floating around. And we go back 3 or 4 years on these when she started doing that. So batch to batch issues are going to happen, especially with small makers. It's just inevitable. Even if there's one small difference, it can make a big difference at the end of the day. So we decided this was the best way to do it. And we're open to suggestions, but we just want you guys to know that we do our due diligence. When somebody complains, we have already tested those inks probably, and we're able to give an answer that's solid. And again, there's occasional times where we've missed it, but we're typically able to go back to our old swatch books and take a look, so you guys will know what's going on. And then what we do is we ship them to a girl named Kelly, and then she does the official swatches that you see on the website. And once we get those back from her, we go ahead and put those in the books as well. But this is just our little for us kind of thing, and I know you guys don't always see it. If you watch the Instagram lives, a lot of times these are what I'll show off. And we have multiple swatches going on, as I bet most of you guys do too, right? Like you swatch in more than one book, it's more than one way. So, in more than one kind of nib, right? This one's an older one. This one was from 23. And it doesn't seem like that long ago, but it is. Look, here's that old dark lilac, y'all. Look at there. There's the old dark lilac. I didn't realize it'd been that long. And here's some more shimmers. But you guys can see in general, this one was actually, I think, Tomoe River paper, so it's a thinner paper. But it was the second batch, maybe. If you guys have any questions for me, just let me know. I'm sorry, I'm moving this as I go. And this one was Tomoe River as well. But it was one of several iterations of Tomoe River. You can see how we've done that. And some of these will be inks that you've seen before because, for example, Konpiki, we know that's been around forever, right? But also it kind of keeps us in tune with what's happening and what the trends are, and just keeps us on top of things. And at one point I had this bright idea that we would label all the different ink types so we can kind of keep up, and I kind of gave up because the batches just come in so many different ways. Like we may get KWZ like 2 boxes, but the third box may be stuck, right? And so then she'll get in another one like Robert Oster, or somebody will ask us to test Robert Oster, so it ends up right in the middle of everything else. And again, we will test inks when you call or email us and complain, and you guys do complain. And once that happens, we're going to test it on this, and then we're going to, a lot of times, put it in a pen and test it as well. And here's some more, because, you know, oh, this one, I think we gave up on this notebook. I don't remember what the reason was, but she stopped. I think we had the idea that we could do 1 brand per book, and then it got out of control. We'll see. This one's from 2022. So you can see how we've evolved or changed how we've done the swatches. And, oh, see there? This, one of the ones that somebody asked earlier about, Devil's Kitchen is one that changed drastically. The color completely changed. It's not anything like it used to be. And some of these, you just forget how long they've been around. At least I do. Some of these aren't made anymore. They were limited edition batches. And Inky Barra, I'm a fan of Inky Barra. It's a wetter ink. Edelstein, you can see. Still more. So just over time, the changes that we have had to make to adapt as we had issues or saw problems with different inks and pens. And sometimes it's just a combo thing, right? So there you go. So let's talk about not just these, but I've got White Lightning here. For those who don't know, White Lightning is an ink additive that we make here in-house at the store, and it's got a mold inhibitor, but mainly it's to help you when you have those inks that are on the dry side and that don't want to flow well, and even the shimmers. 1 drop of this to 10 mils of ink is all you need. So 1 little drop. We sell it in samples and bottles. So we have that here. We used to only sell it in bottles, just recently started selling it in samples. Then we have sample sets, random ink sample sets. We had somebody ask us for some dark colors, so she set up a few dark sets. You can see, let's see, that one's got a black, a black blue, and a dark brown. But we sell these little sets. Those are kind of fun for people who just want to experiment. We try to make each set different. So this is Violet Clouds, and this is actually going to be for a pen show. And this is actually how we do this. So we take the ink sample. She makes bottles. Right now it's Dion doing it, but sometimes it's Jasmine. And this is how they get made. Several bottles at a time get made on these samples, because we cannot make, I do get asked about this, we do not make samples as you order them. There is no way. We would not be able to stay in business in that method. There's no way. So you can see what happens here. And I'm just going down and taking care of it. If you have any questions for me, you can reach us at Vaness Online, VANNESS online @gmail.com. I know this isn't the most exciting topic, but I thought, you know what? Let's talk about the things that we do here. Owning a small business is not exactly the, you know, like you don't get to work 20-hour day, like 20 hours a week. It's 20-hour days, more likely. You can see some shimmer right here from this Violet Clouds, and this is a Robert Oster. And again, I'm actually getting ready to take these to both the Arkansas show and the San Francisco Stationery Fest. And I've got to mail some things off in advance for the Stationery Fest. So I'm trying to get some things done. And it is Sunday afternoon, so did we take a day off? No, we didn't. And we accepted. It's just part of owning a business. It's not an easy thing, but here we are, right? Anybody else have questions for me that you would like to ask? I am on my podcast with On the Paper Trails, and that's with a friend of mine named Joe Craze. He also owns a small business. And usually I go faster, but since I'm talking to you, I'm not going as fast. Hey, Olive Octopus. So I'm just showing off what I'm doing to get ready for the show. And I'm showing off the old books. So we recently switched how we swatch. Say that fast 5 times. So we're swatching, and we're trying out this Wearingle notebook. And I am labeling inks. Somebody wants me to sing happy birthday. Wait, happy birthday, but I don't sing. Nobody wants to hear me sing. That would be a no. But happy birthday, and I am so sorry that you're having a rough day. Not everybody has birthdays can be hard, can't they? They are for me. I've had a lot happen, and sometimes birthdays aren't my favorite day. And let's see. You're welcome. Well, and when you order, my husband leaves you a note, and sometimes it'll say you matter, sometimes have a good day. We try to make sure that we say something encouraging, because we know what it's like to have some bad times. But you know what? At least here, it's a beautiful weather day, and get a little bit of sunshine if you feel like it, if you're in an area where you can. And here, this is me just continuing to make the swatches. So we have old books, right? Old swatch books that we've gone through over time. And you can see how everything keeps changing that we've done. And part of the reason that we started testing our swatches of ink and then putting them in vintage pens years ago. It was a request from somebody who was a vintage dealer at a pen show. So it's one of the things that I did when I started choosing to sell these inks that were lesser known to the crowds, the common crowds at a pen show. That was before we had a website even. So we would make sure that we tested them. And some inks didn't work out. And you'll see that either I don't carry every color or we put a note about it, because there are some things like there's certain inks that will have characteristics that may not be ideal for, okay, we don't have enough, hickory aflame. Oh, there we go. Oh my goodness, silly me, that's what I get for talking. So I'm doing hickory aflame, which is a Van Ness custom ink, and I'm taking this to a pen show as well, maybe. I can get it together. And you can see it's a brown with a shimmer. Don't we love shimmer? Fun. Do you guys have a favorite ink? Somebody says they're family surprise them. Congratulations. And Lisa, who is online Olive Octopus, also Lisa, right? Lisa 1 and Lisa 2. We need t-shirts that say that. She said she needs to go make up samples for the pen shows as well. Yeah, sometimes I have a hard time deciding. I try to cover all the color categories, and making samples for shows is different for me. We used to just only take bottles, but because I'm flying to more shows and doing less driving, I felt like this was the best way to go. And so we tested it out at the California show, and it seemed to go well. So we picked a few colors from each color category that are popular and that we think people will like. And again, it's kind of a semi-educated guess. Almost did it upside down. Let's see. So we have new things that have arrived in the Troublemaker inks, which I'm excited about. We have the new book we're using from the Wearing Goal, but we still have the old Archer and Olive, and we have the old Endless, and we have Endless that came in Tomaway River paper, which is a more, oops, sorry y'all, more coated paper. Somebody says Pearl Noir is my favorite daily ink. You know what? That's an easy one. It's not a super dark black. It cleans out easy. And there's nothing wrong with choosing something simple. I used to be a social worker and I had to use certain ink and I wasn't allowed to pick. So I swore after I wasn't doing that anymore and the ink took off and we started selling more of it that I would never use, I would never use plain ink again. So you'll rarely see me use a royal blue or a black. I will go with a gray ink sometimes though. And I will use blue blacks. But there's nothing wrong with having the same color that you like over and over. I can tell you that it may not be black that I like to use, but I do tend to be drawn to the same color over and over. And I think keeping it simple and having consistency when you're writing, you know, it helps you feel better sometimes. It's whatever makes you feel happy when you're writing, right?
Right.
And that would be Mike in the background. And there's nothing wrong with, instead of saying boring, you might say that you like the simpler things, right? And that's okay. Absolutely okay. A lot of times all I wear is black or green. So I would say that I go for the simpler things. And let's see, what am I forgetting? Probably something important, right? There's more hickory aflame, okay? So this is what there is. This is what we do. Not exciting. But when you guys are buying a lot of ink, this is how we do it. This is how we handle it. And Hickory Aflame is a Van Ness exclusive, and it came out of, we also had one called Charred Hickory that's not shimmer, and this was the shimmer version of that same ink. I didn't really have a set amount of time that I was going to do this because I wasn't sure. Didn't have a plan, which is probably sometimes my downfall, right? But I want you guys to see this is what every day looks like. Just all the behind the scenes, making the inks, making the samples, seeing the messes that happen. This is where we keep refills for ballpoints and roller balls, and we keep converters back behind there, and you can see some of the things along the back row that we have. And we all want to stick to what makes us happy. And if that's a brown or a green or a blue or a purple, just make it your own. Own it, right? And make sure that you have a notebook that makes you happy when you're writing. I've been doing this for 20-something minutes. Let's see what other colors I picked, because I've already forgotten. I did this yesterday. So this one is Green Lady. And I don't have the swatch of it, but you can see right here, Green Lady, a nice green. And then we have, what is this one? This was the Robert Oster brand. This one's called Sinner's Dream. And you can see the shimmer in it. These were just shimmers that I was doing. But we also are doing some non-shimmers because we're doing some Kobe's as well. I guess I should go ahead and tell people, if you like the videos, you should probably click the little like button and do whatever people are supposed to do. You know, again, this goes back to me being terrible at this. And then you can come back and watch it later. It's a gorgeous day out. Should I show you guys what the weather's like here? What's you guys' weather like, wherever you are? Where are y'all? Tell me where you are. Where are you bees? Because here in Arkansas, it's a sunny day, but yesterday was stormy, and tomorrow is also supposed to be stormy. Oh, Derek's in Nashville. Yay. Trying something different, Derek. Prepping for the show, and everybody gets to see it. And Derek actually helps us behind the scenes. We had a little crisis yesterday, and he jumped right in, and thank goodness he helped. So I did not know what happened. Still don't. Oh, you guys, I forget, you guys are behind us on weather. So the yucky weather we were getting yesterday, y'all probably got it yesterday evening and earlier in the day today, right? Because it was thundering and lightning yesterday for us. There we go. Let's see. It's easy for me to forget. So one of the things that you have to keep in mind when you use a shimmer ink is you got to shake it up. When you shake up the shimmer, even in the pen, that's how you're going to get it to flow. And sometimes it will clog if you don't shake it or move it around a little bit to get it flowing. Just keep that in mind. I put a few inks into the podcast for On the Paper Trail, your episode with me, etc. Oh, nice. Okay. Okay, I'm doing well to just do this, so... San Francisco Bay, it's sunny. Yay, and we'll be there in a couple of weeks. Chandra and Joe and I are going to be at the Stationery Fest. For those who are going, I'm teaching 5 classes. I may have ever for sure lost my mind. I tried to cut it back, but I was vetoed a little bit on that. So I'm teaching, it's a free seminar on fountain pen basics. It's how to use a fountain pen. We'll be doing that once on Friday, once on Saturday. I think the class is full on Friday and Saturday, but there are spots open on Sunday. And then on Friday and Saturday, I'm also teaching on the differences in ballpoint, rollerball, highlighter, all the kinds of ink that you use. The difference in the gels and how they perform and why they do what they do and what may work best for your handwriting. I am teaching that at the Stationery Fest in California, and I think there's spots still open on Saturday, but I think on Friday it's full. And then Friday night, hold on, that's not good. Friday night, Joe and I are doing a live podcast. The live podcast will be our first of our On the Paper Trail, which is super exciting. So you guys, I'm probably going to keep doing this, but I don't know that I'm going to keep doing it live because I'm going slower because I'm talking. So I'm not good at doing 2 things at one time. How many of you guys are good at? You guys probably are. Lisa probably can do 5 things at one time, I bet. She's pretty awesome and far more talented than I am. So again, Derek DeWeese will be at the Arkansas Pen Show doing an event for the Pen Show community where he's going to interview various vendors. And I am excited about this. This is something a little bit different. And I feel like because there'll be some time to just set aside and talk to them where they're not constantly being interrupted with customers, I feel like this is a good thing for the community in general. And then Lisa will be teaching several classes, and so you can find her at the Arkansas Pen Show as well. And then they will both be helping us out on Saturday night because we're going to have roundtable education for them. Oh, yay. Derek said he did a test stream. I think I saw where you had done a test of some kind. And I do have headphones and such if you need them here, if you don't have to bring them. Lisa says, I don't know about that. I certainly try, and streaming helps me do the things at all, but probably not very efficiently. Yes, but you have a swatching system down that works really well, and you've swatched in multiple ways. And I feel like because a lot of people don't have, a lot of people aren't sure how they want to swatch, the fact that you've done multiple styles of swatching is really helpful because then people can see many ways to do it, right? I think that's a good thing. Swatching has kind of become its own little, I'm not going to say hobby, but rabbit hole maybe? It's just its own category. At least it seems like it to me. And I am getting things prepared. That's what we're doing here. But these are to sell at this show. That way I don't have to have the samples. I mean, the full bottles. We're going to try to save some space this way. And I think these are actually going to go to the San Fran show because I'm getting ready to take those things with me. Ship those things over to someone. Yes, define your style. And then we'll have the samples of White Lightning on the road with us too. That makes things a little bit easier. I kind of did a test run of what we're doing here when I was in Nashville, but when we got snow, it was a snowstorm or an ice storm. It kind of messed up the whole test subject thing, right? But I'm always excited to have help that I know already and that I feel like I can trust. And it's not always that easy, right, to find people that you trust, but these are people that we've all bonded. I've known Derek for over 10 years for sure. And Lisa and I share the same last name. I mean, not last name, same first name. Hello. We still share the same first name. That makes us bonded initially, right? And we've known each other, I guess, a couple of years now. She's talented, even if she doesn't think so. And I look forward to having them both help us out at the round tables on Saturday night, as well as their events that they're each doing. Her leading classes and him doing this in-person interview situation. I'm excited for both of them. You guys, if you have any, I guess I could turn the camera around-ish, right? Okay. Maybe, yep. If you have any questions for us, you can reach us at vaness1938.com on the internet if you want to shop. That's 24/7 of that. Or you can reach us by email at vannessonline@gmail.com. That's vanessonline@gmail.com. And you can come and find us at the Arkansas Pen Show in a couple of weeks. That's March 20th through 22nd. And I'm trying to get better about doing these videos, but it's something I struggle with. So if you have topics or thoughts, just let me know either in these comments below or message us. You can find me on Instagram as just vaness1938. And I'm going to attempt to revive an account I had with TikTok. I forgot, Vaness1938, I think. And we had to get the password reset and everything because it's something my daughter had previously helped with. So anyway, I'm excited. I'm excited to see everybody and have a great weekend. And then hop on a plane with Chandra and Joe and head to California right after that. Let's see. I'm very much looking forward to the Arkansas show. I couldn't wait to meet the Lisa known for all the inks. What's funny is you're known for inks too. So we have two Lisas, both known for ink. So we both have a love of ink and we both have a lot of knowledge. And then behind the scenes, public didn't know it, but we were analyzing the crap out of some paper that I could not figure out. And I think we may have figured it out, but those are the kind of things that happen when you have time to enjoy talking about your favorite things, right? If you guys have any questions for me, again, vanessonline@gmail.com. You can email Mike. He won't reply. He'll pass it to me. He's giving me a look. But I'll show you guys the weather real quick so you can see kind of how sunshiny it is. Also how messy it is. And there's Mr. Mike right there. There he goes. And Dion is in a corner making more ink samples for us. Yay. Okay, y'all. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Bye. Maybe. Man, I never remember how to do this.